morning to you. Casey outside, coming back at you. Okay, what we have today here is I'm doing a little modification to the rack on the 22 KLR 650 using this rack plate from NomadicRack.com. This rack was originally off of my 2006 KLR 650, and it was made for that bike. You can see the cutout here for the toolkit, and you would take the screws out of the factory flat top rack on the 2006, and there are countersunk holes here which you would just replace the bolts and put the Nomadic rack right on top of your plate on the 2006. And they also make these for the second gen also. They look exactly like this, but they have this piece right here is actually missing and cut out. But what I'm going to do, they don't list anything for the third gen, so I went ahead and fitted this up to it. Now the reason I use these, this rack here, of course it's wider, but you get multiple tie downs if you're using straps for a dry bag, any of your luggage, that type of deal. You can put those straps through, and get this up here closer. You can put the straps through, there's several holes all around the edge of this thing that you can see there. Get some daylight between it. Just multiple tie downs, which makes it so much easier if you're putting a luggage bag on the back of this KLR. That rack is nice, but the lack of loops and tie down holes like this just makes it kind of a pain to tie a bag down. What I did, I'll show you here in a minute. These are $99. I don't know if they charge you shipping or not on the website, but I will put the website down below in the comments there. But it's Nordic Rack is what it is. I've had these for years. I have two of them actually. I'll show you the other one here. I use these, and you can see on this one, I have these little U-bolts. I use those. I run moose racks, which are the tube style racks. So I just use these little U-bolts to mount it on the tube style rack. And you can see I use these a lot during hunting season for archery, and I put my bow across here, you know, and of course put the rubber bungees down with these bow holders here. And I run these on the back of I've used these on every dull sport that I've had. I always use these, and they give you a nice area here, you know, almost like a little table if you're out and you got to maybe work on a piece of your bike or do a little tinkering or have the carburetor off or something like that. I mean, you have this hole here for the KLR 650, but it's really not a big deal. I mean, you could fill that in with something if you wanted to. But I'll show you here how I have it on the Gen 3 here. All right. So what we have here, this is your original Gen 3 rack, and what I did is I removed the factory bolts here in the washer. Now, if you notice, I have nut certs in my rack. You're not going to see these if you just brought one home from the factory. I have these nut certs that I drilled and put into mine so that I run top boxes, the Harbor Freight boxes, and I just have these bolts in so I can sit the box on, bolt the box down, but I'm done using it, take it off instead of having nuts and bolts and all kind of crap to try to take loose. I can have a rack on in 30, I can have a box on in 30 seconds and, you know, off in 30 seconds. So that's what they are. But anyhow, factory bolt out of the two front ones is what I did. And then I drilled one hole right here as a third mounting point, because these two, you'll see these two fall in these slots right here, so it really wasn't a good idea to use those to bolt it down. I'll show you how it sits on here. What it does, see on the Gen 1 and the Gen 2, you know, this fits right on and you can still get your tool access and all that type of deal. That's why that cutout is in there. So you can see I have that lined up pretty well there now. And if you look, it is wide, but it is just almost even, maybe a couple millimeters wider than your grab bar right here coming on the side of your rack. So I'll go ahead and get the bolts here. These are just from the hardware store, and I don't remember the thread pitch. I just took the factory bolt with me, and they have a thread gauge there, and you can run the bolt in. They are metric thread, I will say that, and they are coarse thread. So, just going to stick it down in the hole there. Oh, I want to show you too what I did before I bolt this up. I did put that camper tape foam, they call it, in the areas that contact the rack so I don't get any weird resonation or vibrating like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get this. All right. For some reason this one here is always kind of tough for me to get lined up, and you don't want to cross thread them. For some reason it just wants to be a little pain in the rump. And I'm not running a washer on them. And I know, and you can countersink these. The hardware store has countersunk bolts. If you want to countersunk them like this, you can do that. I'm not worried about that. As long as I got the rack on, I'm fine. And then of course, the back one there, the hole I drilled, nut in the bolt. Now you can, this top rack, I believe it's, I don't know if it's steel or aluminum. Hold on, it might be aluminum. Let's see. Yeah, it's aluminum. So you have to have an aluminum welder if you want to do any welding on it. If it was steel, I probably would just weld this nut on the bottom. Go ahead and snug this up. And you can reach, you saw me put that nut on, you can reach right underneath here, get your wrench on there. It's not difficult. Tighten this right down. There you go. Let's take a look here. Okay, so you can see I positioned it so I still have access to my toolkit, or if you don't keep your toolkit in there, you know, whatever little secret things you want to put in there, your stash, you can still do that. And there's the two bolts in the factory mounting spots, and that's the one in the back. But you can see now you have all of these oval areas to run straps through, or hook bungee cords or ropes to tie down. Now, I mean, this one here, you lose a little bit of it because of the original rack. Same here, and of course, these are on top of your rack, so you lose them. Now, I could still get a bungee cord hook probably underneath here, you know, to hook if I needed to. And you have little circles on the corner, little round holes right there on the corner. But this makes it so much easier if you have a dry bag that you want to lay across this way, or even this way. But now you have those dry bags, most of them all come with a flat strap and the buckles. You can run them through here now. It'll be much easier to hook down onto this. And if you see on any of my other videos, I do run a chainsaw clamp. I actually have it on the 300 right now. So now I will be able to put that chainsaw clamp, I can use that on here now and be able to put it on the 650 for doing any trail trimming. But I don't know if Nomadic Rack will ever develop one of these for the Gen 3. Like I said, they have them for Gen 1, Gen 2. This was a Gen 1. But you can see how they're countersunk, and they fit on real nice on those bikes. but they're excellent. Like I said, I've used these and put these through the ringer between these two. Like this is the one I have with the, right here, with the bow rack. And like I said, I just put my bow on across there. And you gotta be careful with the bow in the back. You don't wanna get down any single track because you'll rip your freaking bow off the back and destroy it. And you don't wanna be going down super slick, muddy trails because you fall, you destroy your bow, plus you get it covered in mud. This is just for me if I'm at camp and I want to run and gun or do some quick scouting but have my bow with me, you know, on the Forest Service roads. I definitely use this all the time. But for $99, it's a pretty economical addition and it will work freaking awesome, like I said, for tying down bags or anything of that matter. All right, so that's a wrap. Any questions on the rack? That is, I believe it is Nordic-rack.com. It may be plural, it may be racks, but I will put it down in the comments below in case anybody wants to get one of these. Like I said, they're a great addition. They work awesome. I'll keep this on this bike now. I actually forgot that I had them here. I use them in hunting season on the other bikes. I always run one on the, whatever small adventure bike I have for hunting. But they work awesome. Till next time, like, subscribe, get on your curvy bitch and get outside. See ya.